I'm Petty Officer Carrie Matson. This week on Navy Marine Corps News, the 1995 Sailors of the Year are honored in Washington. World War II veterans remember the final battle of the Pacific, and we'll give you a few helpful tips that will make your summer sailing trips safer. Join me and Chief Petty Officer Herb Josie for these stories and more on Navy Marine Corps News.
This week on Navy Marine Corps News, the 1995 Sailors of the Year are honored in Washington, D.C. World War II veterans remember Okinawa, the final battle of the Pacific, and we'll show you how to be prepared when you take to the water this summer. Join us for these stories and more next on Navy Marine Corps News.
Welcome to Navy Marine Corps News. I'm Petty Officer Carrie Matson.
And I'm Chief Petty Officer Herb Josie. Despite the move to a leaner Navy and push for a balanced federal budget, quality of life benefits for sailors and Marines have not only avoided the axe, they've gotten better.
The future for benefits like commissaries, medical care, and housing looks good. And the Navy's top leadership is working with key government officials to keep it that way.
We basically have a single line, and that is we're all in favor of balancing the budget, but not on the backs of our sailors and Marines, and we're just not going to let it happen.
The director of President Clinton's Reinventing Government campaign, the group looking for cuts in government to make it more efficient, says his commission is not looking to cut military benefits.
We're not going to fool with the commissaries, and we're not going to fool with the housing, and we're not going to fool with the medical. Those are important things. They're part of the terms of military service, and they're going to stay.
And as far as quality of life is concerned, sailors and Marines can look forward to many positive changes this fiscal year.
Pay raises, BAQ raises, family separation allowance authorized for geographical bachelors, CPay for our tender personnel, and on, housing initiatives that are going to help our people establish and maintain a reasonable quality of life in all the various areas.
One way to improve a sailor's quality of life is to put more money in her pocket with a promotion. Things are looking up there, too.
We're starting to see just great signs of that stability as we do finish the drawdown. On every advancement exam cycle, we're seeing more and more sailors authorized advancement to the next pay grade, chief petty officers authorized for promotion and advancement.
Just as sailors and Marines will benefit in some ways from the drawdown, positive things can come out of cutting government waste, too.
One of my favorites is the military travel system. The Defense Department would save $1 billion by redesigning the system to a PC-based system.
So yes, the Navy's still drawing down, but in ways that will benefit you, not cut your benefits.
So a lot of good things coming up. 2.4% pay raise, BAQs going up more than 5%, and single E6s on ships, they can expect to get single BAQ next. And also they're going to try to get that for E5s in the next fiscal year.
All right, that's pretty good news for us E5s out there, and some other sailors got some good news recently. They became the Navy's newest chief petty officers. As Petty Officer Melinda Larson reports, these chiefs will have a whole year to reflect on how they achieved their goal.
What we're honoring today is leadership. The people standing before you this morning are people who have demonstrated leadership. And that's really what our Navy is all about.
The Shore, Atlantic, Pacific, and Reserve Sailors of the Year are the Navy's newest chief petty officers. They received their chief's anchors and some advice from the Chief of Naval Operations.
What I really would like you to do is say, what can I do with this for other people? And that will be the real measure of our success with this program.
The Navy's best said they don't deserve all the credit. Their success is the result of teamwork.
People from my previous commands, people that I worked for, they came all the way here from all over the country to be here today. And when people give you that much support, you can do anything you want.
The new chiefs now can help others succeed and offer their formulas for success.
Just be the best you can be at whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Just do the very best that you can.
Work hard, persistence, and a lot of prayer.
Planning your career real early. You need to look way 5-10 years into the future. So if you just go out there and do your job and do it well and be proud of yourself.
Good advice from sailors whose success can be traced back to leadership, teamwork, and support. Petty Officer Melinda Larson, Navy Marine Corps News.
Well, sounds like they had a lot of fun while they were up here in D.C.
Yeah, they got a chance to visit some historic sites. They went to some recognition ceremonies, got to go around the Capitol area before they went back to their home commands.
All right, well, speaking of recognition ceremonies, another ceremony was held, this one in Okinawa, to commemorate the sacrifices of World War II veterans who fought there and those who lost their lives trying to bring the war to a close. When people keep something from a place they've been, it's usually to preserve fond memories. But grains of sand from White Beach in Okinawa, Japan will remind this World War II veteran of a tragedy. 50 years ago, over 200,000 Japanese, American, and Okinawan citizens lost their lives in the battle for Okinawa. Last month, veterans from both sides of World War II's bloodiest Pacific battle returned to the island to remember.
The Japanese were well dug in, as all of you know wherever you fought the Japanese. They defended every little ridge. They were in the basements of the houses. They were in caves and every bunker, everything else. So we had to dig them out. And I think there were about 5,000 of the enemy that was finally overcome again.
I was standing at the rail waiting for chow call, and here came a Japanese plane. I could see the meatballs on the wing, so he was about 10, 15 feet above the water. Yeah. I could see, I was above him on the deck of an AKA. Yeah. And they went right down between the column of ships, 3 airplanes.
You were in that?
Oh, hell yes. He took the ship, they took the planes down, and they turned around, came out of the sun. They got 1 3-inch gun off on our ship I was on, didn't it? The guy dropped the bomb on the Henrico, then took the same plane and crash landed on the prow of the ship I was on.
The Okinawa the veterans encounter today looks completely different from the place destroyed by war 50 years ago. But despite its obvious recovery, the Okinawans made sure to let the veterans know that the island remembers.
Pretty sobering stuff there.
Right, it was, but on the other hand, a lot of veterans felt that it was really an opportunity to celebrate the 50 years of friendship that's existed between the United States and Japan since then, and the peace that's been on the island of Okinawa.
That's good to know. When we come back, enlisted sailors and Marines who plan to make the Naval Academy their home for the next 4 years, they have to get past an obstacle first: plebe summer.
Right, and recruiters in San Diego work hard to turn today's applicants into tomorrow's sailors.
Stay with us.
Statistics show that the average person over a lifetime has 75,302 dreams, 3.8 surprise parties, 563 pairs of socks, and 8.6 different jobs. Is educated by 39.7 teachers, laughs 1.5 million times, finds $8.15 in the sofa, tries 12 different hairstyles, plays 6.4 sports, and owns 3.5 pets. But the average person only has one life, so why mess it up with drugs? A message of 29.3 seconds from a drug-free Navy and Marine Corps.
During the summer of 1943, Allied forces launched the invasion of Sicily. Under the overall command of General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the invasion was codenamed Operation Husky. 38 days after the invasion began, more than 125,000 prisoners had been captured, and Sicily was secure. The fall of Sicily led to the collapse of Mussolini's fascist government and paved the way for the invasion of Italy. I'm Charlton Heston. A grateful nation remembers.
Welcome back to Navy Marine Corps News. You know, there are many ways enlisted sailors and Marines can get a college education.
That's right. One of the more prestigious and challenging routes is through the United States Naval Academy. And most prior enlisted, they spend a year at the Naval Academy Prep School in Newport, Rhode Island, brushing up on their academic skills.
Right. Well, you may think once that's over, they'd enjoy a nice, relaxing summer before heading to Annapolis, Maryland. Wrong answers. Petty Officer Bill Miles reports school's already in session for these midshipmen.
To be a midshipman at the Naval Academy,
This is a goal for many enlisted sailors and Marines.
Well, I thought I'd done all I could do in the fleet, and I just wanted the opportunity to go to college, and this seemed like the best route.
I decided I really wanted to go ahead and get into college education, and I'd really also like to be a pilot.
I hope to go on to med school out of the academy, which they only give about 14 billets a year, so hopefully I'll get a med billet out of the academy, which I'll probably have to do some summer school and stuff to do, but I'm willing to take that sacrifice.
This is the first day on the Annapolis, Maryland campus for these Marines and sailors.
Left hand, have your ID card, your service record, any sponsor form. If you haven't, you'll know what I'm talking about. Travel orders and your permission to report.
They report one day earlier than their civilian counterparts who just graduated from high school. The first-year academy students, or plebes, check in, go through medical, and pick up their new white hats.
It's tight? No, it's kind of loose, actually.
It must seem like they're going through boot camp all over again.
Third boot camp, and hopefully the last.
This is part of the indoctrination here at the U.S. Naval Academy. These sailors are getting their uniform items, but for the next 8 weeks, they'll be going through something called Plebe Summer. The purpose of Plebe Summer is to get the new personnel physically fit and ready for military life. And it's the midshipmen who put the plebes through their paces.
You guys look forward, though, to having some fun with these guys, too?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It's fun. It'll be a good time.
Of the 1,200 students that will make up the class of '99, a little more than 100 are prior enlisted.
We really want young men and women with prior enlisted experience. It makes for a wonderful mix and a blend here of our student body going through the Naval Academy.
And many are going to the school for more than just an education.
Definitely the self-motivation, the leadership skills, just 24-hour around-the-clock training that only the academy can, provide.
I see the academy is going to help strengthen some leadership skills that I didn't have before. That's what I guess this whole institute is about.
They become the leaders here. They're looked up to with their prior experience.
Just being in the fleet, having the prior experience, knowing what's going on, knowing what to expect as well has helped me a lot.
I would say the maturity level, we were looked a lot to as the leaders, so they would expect more from us, and then even our classmates would come to us if they needed help.
Helping your classmates and giving it all you've got.
I just expect to give it 110%, keep my head in the books, and stay focused on what I'm here for.
And it's that kind of hard work that'll get you from this.
Welcome aboard to the United States Naval Academy class of 1999.
All the way to graduation. Petty Officer Bill Miles, Annapolis, Maryland.
Nice payoff, throwing the hats, throw the hats in the air and get commissioned after going through what must be another boot camp.
Right, but at least they've been through boot camp once already, so how tough can it be? Plus, I mean, they get to spend some time up at Annapolis, which is really a gorgeous, gorgeous campus.
It sure is. Now, think the Naval Academy might be your route to a college education. You should contact your command career counselor for more details on how to get there.
Those career counselors, as well as Navy recruiters, they're always looking for the best applicants for the Navy. As Petty Officer Ron Flanders reports, a group of recruiters in San Diego is doing that very well.
These students at Hilltop High School have a lot of choices to make in the next few months. A career choice is just one of them. San Diego recruiters like Petty Officer Jimmy Woods want to show the students how to become a success in the Navy.
In the counseling office, we have pamphlets for ROTC.
Efforts like this have made San Diego the top recruiting district in the nation.
So recruiting duty is fairly independent duty, and you can really make it yourself here, or you can fail yourself here. You don't have much supervision, so it's up to you.
Well, I'm getting ready to sign up. I'll be in the Navy about 10 minutes or so.
How do you feel about that?
I'm pretty excited.
Today's recruiters have many tools to make their job easier, including a new advertising campaign.
Wayne Winfield and Ron Williams were two of the most heavily recruited high school kids.
I think the best one is basketball, playing the basketball out at sea, because a lot of guys ask us, the big question we get is, can we play sports in the Navy? Okay, I asked the same question at 19, and when they see that commercial, like, y'all play, on the ship, y'all play basketball, so that's a good side. And then it's like, well, I don't mind going to the ship if I can do that.
Even if the NBA isn't in their future,
I guess that's game.
A BA is. For more information, call 1-800-USA-NAVY.
Many sailors volunteer for recruiting duty, and while it's a challenging billet, there are many incentives to do it, including a special duty pay of over $200 per month. But the biggest reason to do it is what it can do for your career.
This career enhancing because it's easy to make chief out here, especially at my rate. I can make chief quicker being a recruiter than being back out in the fleet.
Based on their past success, NRD recruiters are living proof that the message the Navy is still hiring has been received loud and clear. Petty Officer Ron Flanders, San Diego.
When we come back, the U.S. Olympic Committee in Savannah, Georgia learns the value of Navy Seabees.
And Marines help teenagers from across the country meet any challenge.
We'll be right back.
Hey fans, here's a winning pitch. Baseball's top stars have learned there's no greater preventable health risk in America today than tobacco use.
I've got to be in top shape to stay ahead of these hitters. Good health is part of my game plan, and using tobacco is a guaranteed loser. When I finally reached the majors, I learned what tobacco does to your body, and I finally said, hey, it's time to quit.
Becoming a professional baseball player took hard work, discipline, and a commitment to keeping my body healthy. That's why I never used tobacco.
It won't help my game. If you don't start, you don't have to quit.
After quitting, I felt better, and it really helped my game. So listen to the pros. When you're quitting tobacco, it's one time that quitters always win.
Join the team. Adopt a winning strategy. Protect your health. Don't use tobacco. A message from Major League Baseball and Navy Medicine.
Once, there were a few proud men. Men of adventure. Men of courage. Men who knew the meaning of honor. There still are. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back. The Olympic Summer Games in Atlanta are less than a year away, so of course that means preparations are in full swing right now.
That's right, and off the coast of Savannah, Georgia, Navy Seabees are a big part of that preparation. They're building a floating pit stop for the upcoming Olympic sailing competition. Petty Officer Mark Kane reports.
These waters off the coast of Savannah, Georgia are pretty peaceful right now, but soon they'll be filled with yachts competing in sailing trials for the '96 Olympics. But the boats can't race without a platform to use for pit stops. So the Olympic Committee put out the call to build one.
We had a request from the organizers down in Atlanta asking that 3 barges be provided out here at Wausau Sound to provide a day marina. And we checked with the services. The Seabees felt they could take on the mission, and that's how we got them involved.
Seabees from Underwater Construction Team 1 out of Little Creek, Virginia, took on the job. And although the work was going to be tough, the team was excited about being involved.
You know, it's usually rewarding, and they're happy to be there, and there's no slack. You're not picking up anybody's slack anywhere, you know. You're just trying to keep up. Everybody's a performer, top performer.
I feel pretty good that we're helping out the Olympic Committee. It's a good job, it's a nice place, and it's a lot of work, but we get a lot of job satisfaction out of it.
And they put a lot of effort into protecting the environment.
We are very concerned as an organization about the environment. So as opposed to try and put
any decking on this island. We elected to use something that we could put in and take away.
Everything we put in should be able to be put out without damaging either the bottom, the water, or the land. So these come in, they're spudded down. When they're done with them, they lift the spuds and then take them out.
Slowly the barges went in. But once these barges are finished and the trials begin July 29th, this place will be anything but slow.
You'll have the 690 some odd athletes. You'll have their boats. You'll have their trainers, the officials from the Olympics. It'll just be a buzz of activity. It'll be a city, basically a floating city.
It'll take a lot of hours for the Seabees to complete this floating city. But working long hours is nothing new to these guys. In fact, they like it that way.
We'd like to do any type of job as long as it has to do with hard work and the team being together.
If it comes to your head and your heart, these are the bunch you want to put your money on, that's for sure.
And if Team USA works together as well as these Seabees, they'll have an even better chance of taking home the gold. Petty Officer Mark Kane, Savannah, Georgia.
Now, these barges that the Seabees are building to use in this Olympic trials, they're going to be used in next summer's Olympic Games, of course, and they're going to be held in Savannah from July 22nd to August 1st. That's next year, 1996.
Well, of course, you don't have to be an Olympian to enjoy sailing. A lot of people do. It's a very popular summertime activity. It's relaxing and it's fun.
But it can be dangerous if you head out unprepared.
Right. Well, Seaman Miranda Parker has some news you can use the next time you prepare to get underway.
Hey, you want to go sailing? Well, sailing isn't all fun and games. In fact, there are 4 basic rules you should follow before you attempt to tackle the high seas. Rule number 1, be prepared. The first thing you need on board is a fire extinguisher.
These fire extinguishers should be checked on a regular basis for obvious damage such as corrosion, clogged nozzles. They should be checked also for the indicator gauge to be in the normal range.
Make sure to have the appropriate visual distress signals. Remember to have personal flotation devices. Drinking and boating don't mix. Not only is drinking and boating dangerous, it's also a federal offense. Rule number 3, have a compass and map on board. Let others know when and where you're going and when you plan to return. And give them information that will make identification easier should something happen. Practice the 1/3 rule. Use 1/3 of your fuel for going out, 1/3 for getting back, and 1/3 for reserve. Boating can be a beautiful way to spend a summer afternoon. By taking a few precautions before you leave the harbor, your outing will be both safe and fun. Seaman Miranda Parker, Rainbow Bay Marina, Pearl Harbor.
Well, there you go. There's lots of good tips if you plan on going and doing a little sailing.
That's right. It's a great way to get outside and enjoy the summer on the waves.
Right. Well, speaking of getting outside and enjoying the summer, some Marines in San Diego helped high school students from all over the country do that and more.
And Marines at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego, they hosted hundreds of students for the National Youth Physical Fitness Championships.
And as Seaman Sonia Hammond reports, kids learned a lot more than just the importance of staying fit.
Left touch! Left touch!
Marine Corps Recruit Depot normally trains young Marines to become a fit and ready fighting force. So why are these high school students operating Marine equipment? It was just part of the fun at the annual National Youth Physical Fitness Championship held at the depot. The Marine Corps Youth Foundation sponsors the championship, and Marines support the students by encouraging them to do their best.
15% of our kids are on the field in varsity athletics. They're getting all the money and the attention. The other 85% are in the stands turned into couch potatoes. So we want to specifically target them and give them an incentive to want to work out on their own.
35 teams from high schools across the United States participated in the championship that included 5 graded exercises: sit-ups, push-ups, standing long jump, pull-ups, and a 300-yard shuttle run.
For me, I think the best part of this competition was to see these kids come out here and put forth, everything they had. I had kids crying and kids, really going down on themselves, but they were really pushing themselves, doing really good.
So what do the students think of competing on a Marine base?
I like this.
I love this. I like to be here, you know, enjoy with the people.
This is something great. This is what, everyone comes here and pushes themselves as hard as they can to try and be the best.
The program not only keeps the students physically fit, but it's also a way to stay out of trouble.
Most of these kids, it's not all of them, but they do a lot of drugs, teen pregnancy, and we try to use physical fitness to beat that source, especially in New York City.
Physical fitness is not the only reward for the students. Their mental fitness improves through their schoolwork.
One of the things is when you started try to compete, to come to San Diego, go compete, you have to pass all your classes. And I'm one of those girls that it's hard to pass all my classes, so I had to work hard in my classes so that way I can come over here.
The students receive certificates and medals for their outstanding performance.
I'm not going to forget it, and I won't, I promise you that.
Seaman Sonia Hammond, San Diego.
Well, it's good to see the Marines getting involved in the community out there in San Diego.
Yeah, the kids got a pretty decent trip out of it as well.
That's true, too. Well, that's our show for this week. I'm Carrie Mattson.
And I'm Herb Josie. Make sure you get the July edition of All Hands magazine. It's got lots of informative articles and interesting features, including this one on the Navy Ceremonial Guard. Pick up a copy today.
Also, in the next few weeks, we'll have some tips on how to make your summer cookout safe.
And we'll take you to Pensacola, Florida, where sailors in the Seaman to Admiral program will graduate and assume their new role as ensigns.
Be sure to tune in for those stories and more. And we're always looking for feedback on our show, so let us know what you'd like to see. You can call or email our feedback line. The address is coming up at the end of the show.
We'll leave you this week with a look at this year's Summer Blast celebration in Norfolk, where hundreds of sailors, Marines, and their families gather to have a good time, edited by Petty Officer John Charlton.
Have a great week.